We back! Let's go. Let's go with everybody. Quick update on everything that's been happening. I haven't been here. I was involved in a car accident, so I had to spend my time healing up. And then after that, I'm in Detroit, which has the worst car insurance rates of all time. So I had to lock in on getting the right car, finding the right insurance, figuring out what a deductible is and what all that stuff means. But whatever, that's nerd stuff. That's nerd stuff. The point is, I'm back. I'm happy. I'm mentally feeling better. And I'm ready to lock in on YouTube for the rest of the time. We got a lot of content coming up on this season. My 2024 is going to be good. I've just had a very rough start to it. But let's get right to the video, man. The issue that I have with accolades, even before you bring up specifically All-Stars, but the issue that I have with accolades in the NBA is that what a lot of people do in their analysis and their covering of the sport, they like to specifically focus on how many All-Stars does the guy have, how many All-NBA teams does this guy have, compared to how were they at basketball, how did they play. And I think this year is another example of us needing to focus on the production that a guy put forth in a season more than the outcome, more than them getting All-Star or getting All-NBA or getting MVP or not. Prime example, even though it's at a higher stake, Embiid just tore his meniscus in his knee. So there's a good chance that he's going to miss a lot of games. And because of that, he might not qualify for All-NBA. He might not qualify for MVP. He might miss both of those award categories. But obviously, if you've been watching basketball, Joel Embiid during the regular season when he's been healthy has looked like the best player in the sport. But that's the nuance that we love to miss. So when people use All-Star to prop up their player or prop up a player over a player, I think it's very, very foolish. But that's not the worst of it. When you look at All-Star this year, Damian Lillard, a guy that is a very good basketball player, a guy that was traded to the Bucks this offseason to create a big super team in theory. It's not one, but in theory having the way he's been utilized. Part of it is also just Dame just not being as good as other players in the league. But because the Bucks find ways to come back and win because their offense is so amazing with Dame and Giannis, they have the wins. Dame has pretty good stats, so he makes the All-Star starter list. But he makes it over a guy like Jaylen Brunson, who is also in the Eastern Conference, who is also on a team that's winning a ton of games, who just lost another good player in Julius Randle, but has been playing at a super phenomenal level, does not get the cut over Dame, despite the fact that he's been having a better season than Damian Lillard. And I think what you can argue is the reason why Dame makes it over a guy like Jaylen Brunson is because of his name and what he's done in the league before Jaylen Brunson, and the fact that he's on a team that's winning a lot of games. So the bias towards him kind of goes in that direction, when in reality, Jaylen Brunson should be starting in the All-Star game over Damian Lillard. And the other issue that I have with this All-Star stuff is not only does Dame make it, Trey Young winds up not making it at all. And I understand that Atlanta isn't a great team. I know a lot of people don't watch Atlanta Hawks basketball games, but Trey Young is a player that's averaging 27 points and 10 assists. And keep in mind, this is after Trey Young had such a terrible start to his season. When you look at Trey Young in a vacuum, those numbers, there's really no one outside of maybe Tyrese Halliburton and maybe Luka that produces those numbers. And guess what? Tyrese Halliburton and Luka are all-star starters. So you're telling me that the difference between Damian Lillard and Trey Young, who isn't an all-star, to all-star starter, is Dame's play? It's not. It's not. Trey Young has been a better performer than Dame for the season. I think that's an argument you can 100% make, especially considering the level Trey Young had to play at to overcome the way that he started. So for me, when I look at accolades, when I look at all-star, all-NBA, those things are cool. Like, it's good to know that you were in the room for these years, but your level of play should be what we focus on. Like, I feel like what people do is they attach on to All-Star, they attach on to All-NBA, but that's because they don't sit here and actually watch these players play basketball. Another example, Rudy Gobert. In my opinion, the best defender in the league so far during the regular season. People are going to say Bam. People are going to say Anthony Davis. I get that. I hear that. But objectively, you have a guy that is leading the best defense in the NBA on the team that's won the most games out of any team in the Western Conference as a number 1 seed, which a lot of people did not have Minnesota in that number 1 seed conversation. And Anthony Edwards and Cat make it over, which again, they've also been having a good season. But to see no love for Rudy Gobert, who's been the heart of their defense, probably the biggest reason why they're as far as they have gotten, it just shows you that we're not evaluating the strengths of these players by just saying all-star or not. We're just not. And we've had many years where guys have not made the all-star team, but have been very good producers. Even last year, James Harden in Philadelphia was 100% playing like an all-star. Didn't make the all-star team, right? But he's obviously at that caliber and at that level. So for me, this should just be a reinforcement with what happened this year, that we have to stop just looking at what's black and white and say, okay, well, this guy made all-star 4 times. This guy only made it 3 times. So because of that logic, the guy that made it 4 times is better. That's not how basketball works. We got to stop looking at basketball like it's a math equation. The true value of a player has a ton of nuance behind it. It's bigger than field goal percentage. It's bigger than true shooting. It's the culmination of all of these things and their consistent level of play for a season. So this is something that I don't really get as mad at anymore, but it's just funny to see like how we routinely fall back into these things repeatedly. Because now Dame making the All-Star game as a starter, when in the West the right thing happened. I'm a Warriors fan, y'all know this. The right thing happened where Luka and Shai Gilgeous have been having outright better seasons than Steph. I know that there's like a whole lot of context as to why Steph didn't start, because obviously the team's not that good or whatever, but I think flat out they've been having better seasons. They deserve to make it. But that logic and that criteria doesn't hold for the entire All-Star game. So again, just putting some respect on the players that didn't make it, I think it's important. Even Fox, which he's been having a downtrend as of late, but overall Fox has still been an All-Star caliber guy. Just because he's not on the ballot right now, or he might not make a replacement for All-Star, just know he's been very good. And let's keep that in mind. We don't have to assign value to the label All-Star or All-NBA to acknowledge, hey, this player is playing like a top 15 player. Hey, this player is doing this or that. Because sometimes that criteria is what takes players out of that conversation when it should never be that. The value you ascribe to a player should be the number 1 focus when talking hoops. So just wanted to quickly get that out. There's no edits on this video. I'm one take draking this entire video. Shout out to Black Okage. But yeah, more content's on the way, y'all. I've been resting up. I've been trying to take care of myself. I've been looking at a ton of things I want to add to the channel. I've been doing a bunch of live watches on Playback, so go tap in there. If you're not familiar, Playback is literally a platform where you can watch basketball with me. If you don't have access, I can actually give you access if you tap in. Okay, so tap in. I'm gonna be doing multi-streams on YouTube and Playback coming up, so stay tuned with that. I'll have more updates in the YouTube community, but I'm just happy to say I'm back, man. It's been hell having to sit back and not really produce content and just, you know, go about the flow. I didn't forget about y'all. I know it's been a very long time. I know I say this every video, that I come back, but I truly feel good. You see the hairline, I feel good. So let's get some positive energy out there. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and things of that nature. I'll catch y'all in the next gifted upload. Peace out, people.